Warm welcome, everyone. Good morning. It is very special to be able to connect again with you, and it would be great to hear what's been going on, your how it's all been going. We're going to start with a language announcement before we continue.
Para recibir traducción desde Windows y Mac en los iconos de control de la reunión, hacemos clic en Interpretación, clic en Español y opcional para escuchar solo el español, clic en Silenciar audio original. De Android y iOS, en los tres puntitos hacemos clic en Interpretación de idiomas, clic en Español y opcional tocamos el interruptor para silenciar el audio original y hacemos clic en Finalizado.
Okay, great. And so the meeting's being recorded, so you've had the notice to continue on the call. And to get us into the mode of connecting, I would like to just share a couple of, one quote, but the other is an image, and it just indicates something about human nature, at least today, that we have solutions, which is great. Or at least some fix from facilities of science, pills and surgery. But when it comes to changing the posture or changing lifestyle, little less. I wonder if it's something you've observed. And I guess it's a question, why is that? Why would it be that changing lifestyle, there may be resistance? If you have any insights, it would be nice to hear in the chat. And another quote that came up today, which is by US priest Theodore Hesburgh, and he said the very essence of leadership is that you have to have a vision. You can't blow an uncertain trumpet. And I guess we could say leadership could be others, but also I was thinking for ourselves, like what is the vision? What is my aim? And if we have a clear aim, then it becomes easier to make moves. And maybe that's the reason partially for having this time on the retreat. We can ask questions and be really clear for ourselves. What is it we would like to do? What is the aim? Maybe it's a question to ask every day, the refining, and so we get to blow the certain trumpet and help others. So I'm going to hand over now if Prashant is ready, and so a very warm welcome and looking forward.
Hello and good morning, and very nice meet again. Yeah, as Sarah mentioned, you had enough time to reflect and digest, and of course we all are having our own practices. These are just opportunities to complement what we are doing in our journey. We'll quickly revise some ideas we were talking so far, and then that will give us a little insight into our next step in today's discussion. One image that is very, very essential for us is our life through this journey here. We also know there is a real world, and it is extraordinary. This real world is under blackout. So the home itself is a blackout, and our true family blackout, our treasures and even the self. It is like a extraordinary thing. Whole of what is really important or matter, whatever that matters, we can't see it, and there is no name or trace of it, as if none of this exists for us. This is our present situation. And day in and day out, we are dealing with this story of camel and elephant and a dragon, day in and day out. And what will you do if this is what you have from morning till night, and you are told not to create any attachments in it? Is it realistic? Child is kept in a chocolate shop, and he's told don't think of chocolates. It is a little bit that kind of a situation we are in. We are in this world, and our intellect cannot see the bigger map. The biggest thing that can happen to any human being is have the intellect that can see beyond the chocolate shop. That chocolate shop is, don't make that your life and your destination, purpose, but there is something more than that box. And here, once you start seeing beyond it, you discover heaven. You discover the immortality. You discover this, whatever is under blackout, you are discovering it. So you are discovering your true family, true home, true self, true treasures, true father. And on top of it, what is even greater, you are now enjoying the story also. In fact, every moment, every experience in the story appears great when the soul is conscious. In another gathering, we were using an image, and the image was James Bond is acting in Sean Connery is acting as James Bond, and he is in this Casino Royale, and there are bad guys, and there's fight and bombs. All this is going on. When the actor Sean Connery returns home, he is not thinking of what happened in the Casino Royale, maybe even for 1 second. That was a stunt, and that is finished, and now let us get on. Even when he was acting in that drama and he was involved with all these bad guys, he's able to put a full stop and be in his real world and involved at the same time, free. He doesn't take sorrow. He doesn't feel these people are bad, I should beat them, I should take revenge. He doesn't get 1 second of this. If Sean Connery can do this, we can do this. He's not even having any lessons or discussions. Sean Connery has not attended Sanjeevani, and still he can do this. So it is possible for us to do. It is 100% the same scenario. We are in this drama, and you can call it Casino Royale. And there are bad guys, and there is high drama that is ongoing. Drama is happening. And once the drama is going on, you have the option to step back. Just becoming sensible. That is not some extraordinary achievement. All that we are doing, just invisible actor, remain sensible and not deceived by this high drama and be so absurd in thinking he's James Bond. So here the invisible actor steps back. As a result, he finds the eternal prize. He wins that sky, but also wins the earth. He finds he enjoys this drama as a drama. That's the difference. That is not your home. Many things going on in that high drama, low drama, but he finds it is great performance. But that is not his world. Excellent. You want to say anything or ask anything?
Thank you. No comments at this very moment, but more may come. Or more. Today there isn't Hindi translation available unless anyone would require it. You can just confirm in the chat if you know someone is needing Hindi translation. So no questions about the subject so far.
Sure. Yeah, it's just a revision of what we, just the essence. What we are going to discuss today is our journey. When we come in the physical world, our journey starts at a certain point. Journey starts at this point and journey ends at this point. What is shown here is like a simple model. Just like, the primary school students, if you are teaching them the circulatory system, you tell them the right atrium and left atrium, right ventricle is on the right, left ventricle is on the left. But if you are becoming a cardiothoracic surgeon, you realize it is not that simple. You realize left ventricle is not on the left. Left ventricle is in the front. The heart has rotated, and so-called right atrium is at the back. But you don't teach all these details at the primary school. Right atrium is on the right and left on the left. Same way here, we got this simple model that we come in this drama, there is an entrance and exit, and it is like just passing through a theme park. Great. And it is true. But this drama is a big drama, as we gathered, not just 5-10 actors in this drama. There are not millions, there are billions of actors. Also, in this drama, there are rebirths. An actor doesn't play just one part. There are many parts. We have seen in the past the phenomena of reincarnation. And so this journey, it does start at a certain point, ends at a certain point. But this journey has got its own details. And that is adding to another richness of our experience here. So today we are going to see a sociological model. We are approaching it from spirituality and seeing the model that tells us how the society functions, why society is the way it is, gives some insights into that, and also tells us, what is happening to us. So let us see this model, our society model. And it says that the soul passes through different phases during his journey. From the beginning till the end, during this entire journey, he goes through different phases. It is the soul playing part in the drama, but soul itself changes, and with that, a part also drama, you will see it. So broadly, we'll first see the broad map of it, and then we'll go into the details. We said it is the journey of the soul. Soul is the traveler. Soul is the invisible actor. And he goes through these different phases. First phase is called the Brahmin phase. Or Brahmin clan. And each phase has its own energy. When we are in the Brahmin phase, the soul, the individual, has a love for knowledge. That is the dominant aspect of his nature. Thirsty for knowledge, but intelligent in some respects. Not everyone like that. Some are more, interested in sport and doing something, activity, competition. Some are interested in knowledge and they remember and they try to do things, with understanding. They're more gravitating towards knowledge, wisdom, truth. The result of a student life is the next phase, and that is called the Deity Phase. In the Deity Phase, the energy of the deity is happiness. So the same individual, same soul, it takes birth, and for maybe more than one birth, he may spend as a deity. He has time as a student and then time as a deity. And then comes the next phase, and that is called the warrior phase. And what is the warrior phase energy? Happiness is lacking. That energy is not there. That is the highest. Deity is the perfect man. So warrior is something is missing, something is, but the energy there is courage. That is what motivates, that is what rules his life. Where a deity, happiness is what motivates them. They are not begging for happiness. They operate from happiness. Like in the present world, you will get some countries even say pursuit of happiness is their mission. The deities, it is not pursuit of happiness. They're happy, they have achieved it. And it is their nature. They are bubbling with happiness, and life is expressing happiness. After the warrior, the next part, we call it merchant. And what is the energy of the merchant? Merchant looks for comforts. Means the energy of happiness is not there, even energy of courage is not there. So he acts safe, and that is, he wants to be comfortable. And after merchant is the next phase. We call it Shudra. And when we reach at this level, a person is running out of energies, and there is laziness. And so it is like there is neither happiness nor courage or nor knowledge. It is going in the opposite direction. And what is the last? We call it demon. It is like a vertically opposite phase. What is the energy? You tell what is the energy of the demon? Energy of the Brahmin is knowledge, and what is the energy of the demon?
Evil. It could be sorrow or delusion or lies, deceit, ignorance. Lots of ignorance.
Yeah, the energy is of sorrow. It is the opposite of the deity. When you are in the deity phase, take happiness, give happiness, no matter what. When we are in the demon phase, take sorrow, give sorrow, no matter what. Some personalities, they see everything through their prism. They will see, even if it is meant wrong, they say maybe he is meaning it good. They see the good side of things. They think everyone is good. They mean good. Whereas those who are in the demonic phase, they distort everything for the bad. They will twist what is good, twist it into a major problem and take steps. They want to beat someone. They want to take revenge because it is all in their head. So that is the demon. And they might intend to give sorrow, and they might even give sorrow to someone. But if others get 1%, the demon, their mind, is dealing with this, all the time. So they end up punishing themselves 10 times more. Others get 1%, but they get 10%. So let us come to this. Now, what is after demon? Okay, we went through this from Brahmin, we got through deity and warrior, merchant, demon. What is after demon? This model says after demon, we come in the Brahmin phase again. That's why it is a cyclical time. Eternal soul cannot go on falling forever. Brahmin phase is the time when they come up, and then the rest of the time they are coming down. Just like a clock, the old-fashioned clocks, you wind it up. It takes 1 minute to wind it up and 24 hours to wind down. In the same way, in the Brahmin phase, you are taking everyone up, and then it takes time for everyone to lose their power. And Sarah, want to say anything or add anything? And we'll come to this in a more detailed discussion.
I'm just seeing a note from the Spanish group. enjoying the concepts and how it is possible to experience the ideas. And yes, I think for me, it's like what comes from this model is a sense of acceptance of a journey of each and every soul, and also being able to make sense of the variety. It'd be nice to understand a little bit more about some of the details, which I know we're going to go into here, but making sense of our journey in the details. One question here, can we move from one of these phases to another during one lifetime? For example, moving from warrior to deity.
Sure, we'll see these details now. To know that this all applies in the drama. It doesn't apply in the home. In the home, we are souls, and souls are souls. They are godlike. When we are in the drama, this gradual, variety in the drama. It also gives you an idea. Say, if you meet 100 people, there are different people. They are as if they're very strong. Their attitude and their inclinations. And you cannot change it easily. Like Taliban, they got one kind of energy. You can't give it to someone else, in another country, in Europe. They are different. So there are some who want to study books and do research. It is not that they don't have the same energy what you will get amongst someone else. Whereas there is another place, they like to just sleep, they don't want to do anything. It is different. Just that this knowledge says everyone goes through these phases. This is not just some people are lucky because they are in some deity phase. Each and every soul goes through these phases. They are at a Brahmin at a certain time, they are a deity at a certain time, warrior at a certain time. And this applies to you, this applies to me. Just that what happens if you take a cross-section of a society. Some are at one level, some are at another level. That is the difference. So you may find one person is at a merchant level and someone else at a deity level. If a society gravitating towards deity, then we say even 10% of the population is in near deity phase, then you will get one kind of city. It will affect the way the country and the city behaves. If another place, another city, the deity is 1%, not 10%, 1%. But Shudra is the ratio is greater. It will change the society. In one study they did in Sweden, this one organization, they organized programs, training programs, to teach young. They did retreats, residential retreats for young people, and they trained young people in a certain skills, life skills, more values and discussions along these lines. This is 100 years ago. And maybe a small percentage of people actually were able to attend these retreats. But it influenced the whole country. It is that's what they observed. It influenced the whole generation. And so you bring about this minute shift, it affects the nation, it affects the places. Now let us see, what is this Brahmin phase? We said Brahmin is the time when he has love for knowledge. So you might find, in a family, not everyone wants to read books, but he wants to be with books, and everyone else is doing different things. He knows where the libraries are. He knows where the bookshops are, which are the new books coming out. He will keep on top of these things. I remember, as a medical student, I used to receive certain medical journals, from America Medical Association. Was lucky to get this posted to me. And one other student, 2 years younger to our batch, and he came to know that I am getting these journals. He would come every week at a certain time to collect the old journal from me. It was much beyond him, but he would sort of come to collect the old what is finished. I was not even getting time to go through them, but he would come, and the next time I would meet him, I would get the essence of what he has read and what he really appreciated. So they immediately pick up, which are the new bookshops, what is going on, and they will be there. They have time to study this. Brahmins are this, their love for knowledge. But larger life of a Brahmin, there will be cleanliness. There will be simplicity. There will be the thinking of the communities and a spirit of service in their own way. Whatever they might think of hygiene, they might think about education to their village, town, but they think of the larger world. Also, they have knowledge that they know what can be done about this. They will have something to do with God. God is an important thing. More chances that God is a symbol of truth, a symbol of wisdom. So they definitely want to know God, or learn from God, or just to worship God for being the symbol of wisdom. This kind of attitude. So these are Brahmin personality. One girl, she shares when she was in school, small, possibly 6 years to 8 years of age, and her parents would go to meet their friends, some evening dinner, and this girl will take her books. Everyone else is taking different things, but this girl will take her books. As soon as you arrive at the other end, she will find a corner where there is a light table lamp, sit there, go through her books. When it is time to come back, she collect her books, come back again. There is some, cartoon, input, in knowledge input, continuous. There is no time wasted. More input. So that is the Brahmin phase. The Brahmin may be lucky. Many people are in the Brahmin phase, which means they look for knowledge, they're thirsty for knowledge. They will read whatever they find, they will want to read. They want to read about the history of the world. They want to read about, learn new languages. All this goes on. But the result of they may come across the highest of the knowledge, and that is spiritual knowledge. If they come across this, and if they can grasp this, then they are very, very lucky, because this is what leads to the next phase. And next phase, we said, is the Deity Phase. So what happens when we are in the Deity Phase? Our energy is of happiness. Take happiness, give happiness, no matter what. So an example says someone has got 10 defects, one virtue. Those one who is in the Deity Phase, he sees the virtue. He respects the person. It is all authentic, because of the virtue. This is the greatness of that person. He is in the Deity Phase. When one is in the Deity Phase, the energy is of happiness. Someone has done 10 wrong things, but one right thing. He acknowledges the one right thing that he has done, and he is grateful and appreciates. And as a result, his world is naturally positive. So the one who is in the Deity Phase, he remains naturally positive. The one who is in the Deity Phase, others feel he is a perfect man. If you are looking for a friend, whether you know about this clan system or not, you are looking for a deity as your friend, because those personalities naturally uplift others. And those who are in deity, we said happiness, take happiness. It also means they don't take sorrow. Understand? They don't take sorrow. Such is their life. Under provocation, and many things happen, but they don't immediately take offense, give offense. That is not happening. You want to say anything?
It appears clear so far. It's helpful to understand the idea. And it's interesting, even if we're not conscious that we would like a deity friend, we are still looking for this as a reference point.
Yes. If you go into their life, the history, because the mind is healthy, that is all. The mind is clean, and as a result, the body also remains fairly healthy. So if you go into the history, they find it is okay. Most of their life, they had a fairly healthy life, and they may have small little health problems, but even they are easy to deal with. You can treat them more easily, those who are in the Deity Phase. as opposed to those who are in the other phases. That same illness is more difficult to treat. Some simple, change of diet, some little, it will work for deities. But those who are in the Shudra phase, that same treatment may not work. So perfect men and others like these people, they approach things with happiness. So if you ask them, do you want to wash these pots for next 2 hours? They say, great, sure. And they're happy to do that. And they will do it with happiness. You ask them middle of the night, shall we go for a walk? Go to the town just for evening walk. They say, great, yeah, let's do that. Deities are in that space. Naturally they do things with happiness, not as a hated compulsion. But out of, they are into that fun energy. So at a deeper level, what has happened in the deity? They are certainly on the right side of the line, and they are not trapped in the story too much. And because they are freer, they are able to deal with this physical world differently, in the right way. They take it lightly, they approach from that, secure. Then if they have not created bondages, they are not getting into that personality of being secure, insecure, and aspirations. And when we are there, and the energy is more of feeling secure, and all the feelings that come from that security. That is what others will also notice. These people are secure. So deity mind is like this. What is the personality of the next one? Next is the warrior. The word is used, warrior, but to understand, even though that some names are used, originally in Hindi, some name for that translation is warrior. Maybe the name should have been something slightly different, because in this come those who are into sport and those who are into some competition. That is the energy here of adventure. Competition. Impure version is dominance. They want to dominate. Maybe rule. And of course, as we said, they start with the energy of courage. Risk-taking is possible for them. So how did they reach there? How did they reach the level of risk-taking and adventure?
Did they lose energy?
How? What had changed between the deity and the warrior? Why the one who was in the deity phase becomes the one within the warrior phase?
I mean, lack of happiness.
Why?
Maybe he wanted a challenge.
Okay. You know what we are seeing? The real weakness of the human race is creating attachments. So we said deity is the one who is on the right side of the line. The moment you get into this spiral, remember the spiral. So the moment he gets in this spiral and crosses the line, then he is now, even the slightest attachment you create, you are inviting the drop of poison in the system. When there was zero attachment, there was happiness and bliss. And the moment you create the attachment, a drop of poison, what is that poison? Insecure feeling. You can lose it now. There's fear. And because there is fear, that's why you need courage. Courage you need in where the starting position is fear. That's why you need courage. So the big difference between the deity and the warrior, deity necessarily need to be with zero bondage, zero attachments. Warrior, he has started with bondage, started with attachments. And now he need to have courage and he need to, he's into that. But once that energy is there, that takes the form of adventure and competition. But because he's not heavily in that world of attachments, it appears a bit pleasant. It is still pleasant personalities. They like to dominate, they like to rule, they may start a war also. They may fight. And they may really be warrior. But it all starts with the energy of courage.
One comment, deities are satisfied while warriors are lacking that. Maybe warriors are lacking contentment. And deities are giving happiness, but others are taking.
Sure. We give the example, say, we said deity is middle of the night. You tell them, they will say, yes, let us do, let us go for a walk. The warriors will do it, but they will be using different energy. They will say, courage, night, is it safe to come out at night? And they might still do it, but they feel as if they have used so much courage to do this. Deities do the same thing with fun. That is the difference. One example, deities may climb Mount Everest. They do this every day after breakfast. They do it out of fun. They don't tell others that I am going to Mount Everest. They like climbing, they like walking, that's why they are doing it. Warrior will also climb Everest, but he wants to get there before you. He is using the energy of courage. That he will tell his friends that I'm doing this. He will put his photograph in the Facebook. So that is a different energy. Both are doing the same thing, but the expression, the motive changes. Warrior is doing it for one reason, and the deity will do it for another reason.
Can we say that deities are more introverted and therefore content and happy with themselves, whereas warriors are extroverts and hence are into exploring things?
Yeah, sure. Deities are balanced. And Brahmin is the phase where the introspection is the great virtue at the Brahmin point. Deities, they are naturally perfect. They don't necessarily say extroversion is bad, but there's a balance. At the levels from warrior onwards, things change, but it is like all in gradations. It is not sudden, from one to another, but it is gradually shifting. So this is the warrior phase. From warrior, we come to the next level, and the next level is called the merchant. And what is the energy of the merchant? Is that he definitely is looking for comfort. The larger life of the merchant, there are certain tendencies. He likes to show off his wealth. There will definitely be glitter and gold. They want to demonstrate that car with some extra metal you want to show. So merchant will be at that level, show off. Definitely wants his comforts. Merchant also likes food a lot, so they end up being fat. All that has happened, the difference between warrior and merchant has created more attachments. Warrior has already created attachments compared to a deity, but by the time he reaches merchant, he has attachments to his children and grandchildren, cat, dog, property, land, banks, everything. He's trapped in all this. And now you tell him go for some adventure. That is not his priority. It is impossible for him to think of this. So that's why it all moves in the direction of build a big fence and make himself safe and eat lots of food, talk about money. Those who are in the merchant, money is like their god, their deity. They worship money. Those who are in the warrior phase, they worship their weapon. Those who are in the Brahmin phase, they worship books or scriptures. How will a merchant go to Mount Everest? We said a deity will go with happiness, it is fun to walk, to climb. The warrior will climb with courage, slightly different to a Brahmin. How will a merchant climb Mount Everest? Helicopter, okay. Any other answers?
With a picnic basket with something to sell.
Yeah, sure. He will not go to Mount Everest, merchant, but he will sell tickets. He will arrange tours to go to Mount Everest. But all that his interest is to make some commission. That is his idea of success. He is not interested in Everest at all. So do you see any merchant? Anyone? Are there any merchants in your town? Or warriors? Anyone? Deities in your town?
Many. It was said of this country that we're a nation of shopkeepers. So there's a question here. Can we say that after birth, every child is in a deity phase, and as he grows up, he goes to school in a Brahmin phase, and then in a profession, we go into merchant phase?
No. We are seeing the bigger map of the soul. And when we are seeing the journey of the soul was deity at one time. He becomes warrior after some births. He becomes merchant after some births. And there are some others who have just started the journey in the physical world. So they may be in the deity phase now. And so someone who is in the warrior phase, he may die. And he will be born in the warrior phase. So right from childhood, you might start to see his tendencies. Here we see some children, they come from certain background. They little children, but they know how to ride the horses and they know how to manage these animals. And they are very small children. It appears like they are less than 10 years of age. And it is not just because their parents are doing all this. They themselves must have this tendency deep inside. And it expresses.
Okay, I think it's clear. Thank you.
And you will see this, even the children, there may be 10 children, sometimes from the same background, and you will see they all have different tendencies, innate tendencies. One likes to just don't want to get into competition, play. You want to reflect, sit. Someone to play competition. Someone else is lazy. You get all kinds of children. Yeah. Any other comments, thoughts?
Sometimes it feels like we have all of these tendencies within us, So is it possible? We're moving through, but in a way, we might feel like a collection of these different phases.
Yeah, even though it appears like that, and you will also notice that at any moment, one personality will be dominant. One may say, "Oh, I'm a little bit of a merchant, a little bit of warrior." But if you have to choose between a party or a football match or a seminar, all three are happening on the same day, what is your choice? And then it makes, now you come to know. If it's a Shudra deep inside, you will choose the party. You would rather attend the party than do anything else. That is the most important thing for you. So after merchant comes our next big phase, and that is we find ourselves in the Shudra phase. And when we are at this level, as we said, there is no energy left. So there is laziness, and laziness of the head presents as dullness. At the same time, there are some other tendencies getting bigger, and that is desires. Because attachments are even more now. You are in the spiral. Ravan is becoming bigger. And so there are desperations and indulgences. So at some level, it is like a further fall in a Shudra. There is laziness, dullness of the intellect. At the same time, there are hits, and he wants his coffee, followed by chocolate, followed by some video. What's the next hit? That is his idea of life. And then sleep, So this is the life of a Shudra. It is vertically opposite of the Brahmin. Brahmin is, we said, he's quick with knowledge. He wants to take knowledge, give knowledge, as cleanliness. Here it's just opposite. You would rather not do it than do something. There is dullness, there are indulgences, and laziness. How will the Shudra go to Mount Everest?
Well, if merchant doesn't go, Shudra definitely won't go. But how will he experience it, maybe? Any suggestions?
Yeah, he's going to watch others going to Mount Everest on his television whilst having his coffee. So that is the life of a Shudra.
Maybe in the form of a game.
Yes.
In a PlayStation.
Yeah, very nice. So after Shudra comes our last phase, and that is the demon. And we said demon is the time when take sorrow, give sorrow. Opposite of deity. Shudra is opposite of a Brahmin. If you see this list, Brahmin is the time when you are active, alert, knowledge, cleanliness, and then Shudra is opposite of that. Deity is the one with happiness and give happiness. Demon is opposite of that. Take sorrow, give sorrow. Deity will see virtues in others. Demon will see defects in others. They got 10 virtues, one defect. Demon will focus on the defect. So if you see the culture, you go to the house of a Brahmin, you will see cleanliness. There may be some photographs, there may be some slogans, but they are meant as an educational atmosphere. They are meant to inspire others. That's the Brahmin phase. The result of Brahmin is the next phase, deity. And in this phase, you go to the household of a deity, you will see perfection in a less expense, more taste. Just see the place appears tastefully done because they have intelligence. They do things intelligently. Go to the household of a warrior, you might see the skin of a tiger or some deer. It is a trophy. They want to see it as a big achievement. You might see the ancestral guns somewhere, swords, photographs of their ancestors with weapons. That is warrior. Go to the household of a merchant. You will hear the talk of money. That is the very merchant. And what the price of gold somewhere and what is happening to this, they will. It is on their mind, and that will come. So these are merchants. They ultimately are looking for comfort, of course. And their big success is others saying, wow, this is extraordinary, you got so many billions. That is like a big success for them. Shudra household, you will see the place quiet. When you reach there, it is quiet because they all are asleep. But place will be, as we said, different to the place of a Brahmin. And demon in the world of sorrow. As we are saying, the foundation itself is of sorrow. Foundation of life itself, sorrow. And fully into bondage, the Ravan, embodiment of sorrow, embodiment of bondage, embodiment of ignorance. That is what the demon is. And after demon, we come to Brahmin again. So we are seeing the cyclical journey of the life of Brahmin. Is it happy? If you are planning to have any discussion or rooms,
Yes, it's a good time to pause and identify some of these tendencies. How would we frame a question for the discussion? Any suggestions?
How to become a deity? Since that is the perfect man, what we are saying, to become a deity, deity is a result, Brahmin is the student life, and the Brahmin creates deities, whereas Shudra creates demons. Based on this, that it will be nice for you to have discussion on this.
What about what helps make a strong Brahmin life?
Yeah, very good.
The stronger the Brahmin life, the stronger the deity life. So we pop that in the chat, and we're going to open up rooms now, and as you remember well, chance to hear from each other. So if you can create time that everyone is able to share, that would be ideal. And just let us know if you're in the wrong room for your language, and we'll meet back in 10-15 minutes. Very warm welcome back. And just to hopefully not break your conversation, but add a little pause where we can just go back into the essence. And after that, we'll be having a panel discussion on the subject. You. Very nice to have this collective pauses. And just a summary from here, one thing that I liked was this example that Prashant gave about, I think it was a Scandinavian country where there was a program for young people and they would be educating them in a certain skill which was beneficial for the society in the form of several retreats. And it was seen that this just a few were empowered with skills, and it uplifted the country through the progressive studies done. So it gives a real feeling of hope that all we need are a few people that are geared to this kind of upliftment to make a big change. And also this, what does each of the phases, each of the clans value? And deity valuing happiness, and you could say value or worship, and warriors worshipping their weapons. Something we actually see, as ritual sometimes, worshipping the sword. And merchants, of course, with money. And we all know the slogans of merchant clan of money makes the world go round. And then Brahmins with books or scriptures. And reminds me of Gandhi's, many of Gandhi's quotes, but one of them, I think it's live as if you were, you might die today, but learn as if you were to live forever. So this lifelong education attitude. And so I'm now going to bring in Peter, who you've met already from Australia, who's with us, and we're going to explore this subject a little further. And I'm going to also warmly welcome Aldous, who's joining today from the Netherlands. And it will be very nice to hear your thoughts on some of the subjects, and also from everyone else. It'd be great to hear any questions or ideas or realizations in the chat. And maybe I'm going to bring in Peter first and ask one question, which does come. What happens if I feel I'm in the Brahmin phase, but I'm not living with others who have the same feeling? They may be in warrior phase or merchant phase. Any thoughts from you, Peter, about how to how to manage?
Actually, this question came up in our group, interestingly enough. Yeah, I think what I feel is we need to create a little environment for our own self to live in. And that environment is created by pure, positive, powerful thoughts. And it's like a little bubble, I guess, that you can live your life happily, but also you can still interact with other people. So you haven't actually built a wall or anything like that, but this transparent bubble that you're protected, feeling protection, but at the same time you can interrelate with other people. And because, you know, that's what we're here for, relationships. So not to push people aside because of difference of opinion or whatever habitual way of living. Everyone's different, wants to live their life differently. And so just to allow that, but it doesn't mean when I'm in that bubble, it means that I'm not affected by their life. I don't have to live like that. I can choose to live a spiritual life, you know, one that is beneficial to many. Does that make sense?
Yes, just bearing in mind the translator when sharing in case you can't catch, but I think it's very clear, and it would be nice to understand what this environment is. And what comes to my mind initially is a timetable of the day where it holds your structure, and maybe even a space, a certain area in your house where you can focus on your own personal interest. Is that what you were meaning, or did you have any? It'd be nice to hear your ideas on this.
Yeah, I guess it feels like any effort we make creates this environment, like this bubble. I guess you can expand the bubble too. You know, you can let other people come into that bubble, and you can let you can see the bubble around the whole world if you want. So it can be around my little own world, or I can encompass the whole world in that bubble of protection. I think it's maybe it's tied in with self-respect as well. As that increases, you feel safe to deal with other people, and it's not like, you know, it doesn't feel like you're actually creating, you know, setting out to create this bubble, but it seems to be a side effect of the work that we do, the internal work that we love to do. We just a person that studies, a spiritual person, and we called it a Brahmin before, and loves to study this character building and personality trait changing. You know, feels very rich and the change, because the change is deep. It's not superficial, and somehow that creates a nice atmosphere where other people can see, oh, I can do that as well, you know, bring benefit to myself and to the world.
Yeah, it's like either we influence or we become influenced. So if we're doing it with joy and because it's creating attainment, then that is a positive thing. You're happy, but you don't drink and you don't smoke. And what are you doing? For some, it might be. Yeah, it would be really nice to hear what comes up on this discussion or topic for all those if you'd like to share.
Om Shanti and warm greetings of peace. Thank you for this session, because I found it very interesting to go through my own cycle in a way. You see the different phases in the soul, because we are not continuously in the deity phase during the day. So we might move from the deity to the warrior and so on and so forth. And we might also see characteristics of people around us, which clarifies why we are resonating with some, or maybe why it's not going that way with others. What came up in our honest and open group discussion, one thing was that perhaps it is not that we are becoming deities. Perhaps we are already that. The blueprint is already in us. And what we do on a spiritual path is that we reconnect, in fact, with that blueprint. Becoming a deity is not another certificate that we're going to get from another university or a job training or a business education. But it is really going deep, 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 deep inside myself and emerging those habits, those patterns that are aligned with that spirit of being a deity, that are aligned with being in joy, that are aligned being truly happy and having a less complicated character. So yeah, that was what came up, one of the things.
It's nice to think of this personalization, because often ideas can stay at the level of philosophy or mysticism, and also to see that it is something we are re-emerging rather than creating. So maybe on that note, a question that came is how to overcome Shudra tendency, for example, like laziness, when that's dominant and it can take over. Do you have any suggestions on how to work on that, or see if others would like to? Is it the same principle?
Yeah, I would even make it more practical. And what has been working for here, I mean, laziness is quite a big head of Ravan, let's face it. And we didn't get it overnight, so it won't go either. It won't go overnight either. And what has been helping is to bring in micro movements, micro changes in the day to bypass the Ravan. It means that if I need to do something and it's quite a big thing, I won't do that big thing. But if I create a small step towards that big thing, let's say we want to meditate, and then we bring ourselves in a mindset that we say we should meditate 30 minutes, we should meditate 60 minutes, but then we know it won't happen. But if I can bring my mind to 1 minute meditation, let's sit 1 minute and let's have 1 minute of attention and awareness, that will automatically bring me out of laziness, even if it is for 1 minute. And 1 minute each day, I would say, accumulates 365 minutes in a year. And what often happens also is that you won't do 1 minute. Once you're engaged and you're in flow, you might do even 2 minutes or 3 minutes. That way, we don't beat up ourselves for laziness or whatever is there, but we try to bypass it, if it makes sense.
Yes, it's breaking down the big ideas and seeing what it means for me today and now. And also, when we see small incremental changes, it gives us the power to make a little bit more change. So I think it's almost necessary to see it like that. Of course, sometimes it's a shift of consciousness, isn't it? So in that sense, it's quick. But in terms of changing habits, then we need to, as if, create a strong muscle to be able to hold that new habit.
Yeah, one addition, it is breaking down the ideas. That's the first step. The second step is also acting upon it. Because if the head of laziness is there, that's your challenge most of the time. You won't have shortage of ideas, and breaking him down might not even be the problem. The problem is to bring it into action. So that's the second step. Just wanted to add that.
Yes, that's true. We could become great philosophers, but don't move from the chair. I would like to bring in Peter and see if anything resonates. Would like to add anything.
Oh, definitely. Yes, I totally agree with all of that. And just that last part too, I think sometimes we don't really know what the problem is, but when we venture into a practice or a meditation commentary, or just some silent time, things pop up that I don't normally would not have thought about, and oh, that's interesting. I'll have a look at that to see if that's inside of me or causing a problem, causing a barrier. Because sometimes if you set out to work out the problem, that doesn't happen, because it's almost like you're putting that problem into the meditation, for example, if it was a meditation time. But if you just go into it with an open mind, often ideas or methods or different ways we can use to, for example, it might be just an experience of happiness that alleviates the laziness, and we'll find ourselves doing things that create that happiness because it was such a nice experience, and I want to maintain that. So, but definitely you only find that out by doing something. The person that just sits there and doesn't do anything is not going to, get anywhere. So sometimes I feel these problems are a gift to us, because I wouldn't have done anything if that problem hadn't have been there. So it gets me off out of my insecurity, out of my laziness, out of my inaction, and do something. And then you start to feel really very different to, from a victim to a problem solver, or, someone that can fix a problem, rather than, oh, woe is me.
Yes, thank you. It helps us, it kind of pushes us. In a way, drama is helping. One concept comes to mind with the clans, and that is something which they call leapfrogging. It's a children's game where someone is like the frog, and then someone else jumps. And it's used in sustainable development to help countries who maybe are not, they haven't had the Industrial Revolution, and they are wanting to become competitive economically. But the intelligent intervention is to help them go straight for clean energy, not to go through the same trajectory as the developed countries, and they go straight for green energy. And same with telecommunications. They don't need to have landlines to have the mobile. They can leapfrog and go straight for something efficient. And I think the same here. We don't have to go into, we can get the fragrance or the flavor of the Shuddha and the demon once we've had a hint. We don't have to go through that trajectory. We can learn from a hint and take the springboard to look at that Brahmin phase. And from my own experience, learning also from others' lives and seeing what can happen, what are the challenges, and then we can learn. So this is partly in this response to the question, is it necessary to change to Brahmin from being a Shudra, or can we do that from other phases by our choice? So I think, yes, we can always choose to come into that. And it'd be nice to hear from Oduz and Peter. Do you have any experience, or do you have anything to add about making this shift and maybe learning from maybe other stories, or have you had any leapfrogging experiences? Anything that comes up? I don't know if Oduz would like to share.
Yeah, I think I'm very much enjoying this metaphor of leapfrogging, and I think it is very useful once we start a spiritual life, or once we have knowledge about spiritual life, because a tendency can be that we end up in digging into our past and kind of go into a therapy mindset, whereas in reality, we only lose a lot of energy and time with it. Time is valuable, time is short, and things are going very fast. And if we know that the possibilities there to experience this deity form blueprint, I don't need to go or be in the Brahmin stage at the moment and study and carry the books. I don't need really to go through other phases. They might show up and they will, but I need to have my aim clear for myself. And whenever those phases show up, I can just leapfrog out of them.
Yeah, that's nice. In the context of the aim, we become more clear what is helping us, what is the right direction, and make those decisions with discrimination. And how about Peter? Do you want to?
Yeah, I was just thinking, you know, if you have a tendency to go into the problem, it can block the solution, because I'm so focused on the problem that I can't even listen or see or pick up. There's this hint out there coming into me, and I can't feel it, I can't see it, I can't, you know, get in touch with it, and it's trying to help. It's almost like another person out there trying to help, and I'm going, no, I'm fine, I've got it sorted, you know. It's like that, you know, person that asks for God's help, and God sends 3 different methods, and he refuses all of them because he has the ego that he can sort it out, you know. And that ego is such a block, you know. So if we can listen and pay attention to the inner voice of wisdom, it knows what to do. And, you know, that feeling of, oh yes, I know what to do, you know, just meditate more, or it's may or may not be the answer, but the answer sometimes is as plain as day, but I can't see it because I've got my eyes aren't open, or I've got the wrong glasses on or something.
Yeah, that's making me feel to be sensitive to making sure it's not just at the information level, but applying each thing and honoring it. And I also, the tendency to analyze is there. Perhaps I can say for myself, can see that, but the strength of detachment first, and then we get the big map, we see the context and what's happening. And that lovely phrase, to check and change. So you see it, but to make a change with the more focus on changing, not so much on the checking. And the tendency to check and analyze. Maya would like us to analyze it, but check and don't cogitate. Check and change.
You know, sometimes the checking is all it takes. You check, and in that checking you see, and that's it. That's enough. You know, move on to the next part, if you like. Don't even need to spend too much time on it. It's just a matter of seeing clearly.
Thank you both very much for this opportunity to discuss, and I hope it's been interesting and the conversation will continue. And I'm going to see if Aldous is happy to share some meditation, some words in meditation for a few minutes to close. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, let's have a few minutes of attention. We have been hearing a lot past hours or so. Let's come back to the essence of the essence. And while sitting here, thinking about this true inner being that goes through all of these phases, is not the body, is nothing physical. It is that invisible traveler who travels through time and space. And thinking about this, one realizes that this inner being is truly from a different world. He is metaphysical. He is a point of light. And his true world his true home is the sky beyond the sky. Just like an image of a sky with a deep golden red sunset. Similar to that is the color of this sky beyond the sky. There are feelings in this sky beyond the sky, the feeling of deep silence, the feeling of safety, security, and being truly loved. It is a place which is complete. Within that, this invisible traveler is having his travel companions, or points of light, just like himself, pure, clean, peaceful. And there is also a guide, a true guide, in this sky beyond the sky, together with this invisible traveler and together with this travel companion. And for a moment, this pure being of light, this invisible traveler, connects with this supreme guide, with this true guide, who is a point of energy, just like the invisible traveler. As if there is a reunion taking place between the guide and the invisible traveler. A reunion in deep silence, in deep peace. And let's just have this full concentration for 10 seconds, fully aware, focused, and in love, with love. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone. And maybe something to reflect on, this making this Brahmin phase strong, and also experiencing the essence. So look forward to meeting again tomorrow.